From the CNHT studios in Concord, New Hampshire, just a few blocks from the New Hampshire State House, this is
GrokTALK.
It's October 24th, 2015, and these are some of the stories we might be following. Big news of the week isn't that Hillary Clinton lied at her Benghazi hearing, but Clinton always lies. It's the primary candidate, Jeb Bush, is claiming money troubles. Team Bush announced massive campaign layoffs and cost austerity measures designed to save the campaign money. Pro-Bush forces will undoubtedly spin this as proof that the governor can cut budgets and make hard choices. Bush opponents, particularly on the left, will probably claim it as evidence that he's a job-killing machine who doesn't care about hard-working Americans. Bush has an estimated 10 million campaign bucks in the bank, so he's not exactly hurting for money, but the money that is being spent on his campaign isn't moving the needle. Perhaps he should consider running as someone else with different ideas. If that's not possible, retirement from politics is always an option. The Democrat side of the presidential primary contest, if you can even call it a contest, is officially short another old white leftist. Lincoln Chafee has dropped out after discovering that he's not actually a human being at all but a mollusk. Chafee is famous for party hopping, from Republican to Independent and then to Democrat. The experience has caused some soul-searching, which has led the former Rhode Island governor to discover that he is not a person at all, and he plans to spend his remaining days in a damp environment. He has not yet announced whether he believes himself capable of growing an external, calcareous shell. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more stories we might be following after this. GrokTALK comes to you live almost every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. You can also listen live at Spreaker.com. If you missed a live show, catch up with the podcast at GraniteGrok.com, Spreaker.com, on Stitcher Radio, at iTunes, TuneIn, or iHeartRadio, and now on The Rock, New Hampshire's Christian radio station, TheRockNHCR.com. GrokTALK is a mobile-ready broadcast, so you can listen anywhere, anytime on your PC, laptop, tablet, or smartphone.
GrokTALK.
Congressman Paul Ryan has made a deal with House Republicans in Congress to run for Speaker of that body, as long as he doesn't have to paint himself orange. In exchange for not having to impersonate an Oompa Loompa, he appears more than willing to lead like one, sending signals to outsiders that insiders will continue with business as usual. Challengers who do not align themselves with inside the Beltway invertebrate Republican thinking are encouraged to challenge the new Boehner for the job, but no one is holding their breath. The Washington Post is reporting that congressional Republicans say they are short the votes necessary for raising the debt limit and avoiding a first-ever government default. With barely a week before deadline, there's no plan on what to do, says the Post. It's a huge problem for House Speaker John Boehner and a potential nightmare for his successor in waiting, Rep. Paul Ryan Boehner. GOP leaders promised Friday that the House will act next week, just days from a November 3rd deadline, increasing the government's $18.1 trillion borrowing cap so that it can continue to pay its bills in full and on time, which would prevent a potential meltdown in the financial markets and save the Republican Party from presiding over default on U.S. obligations. This whole scenario sounds vaguely familiar to me. I just can't seem to put my finger on why. Those are the stories we might be following. Stay tuned for GrokTALK.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
From the CNHT studios in Concord, New Hampshire, just a few blocks from the New Hampshire State House, this is
GrokTALK.
Three, two, one.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GraniteGrok.com.
GrokTALK.
All right, welcome back to Hour 2 of GrokTALK. It's October 24th, 2015. My name is Steve McDonald. I am here with Ed Nail, who is still with us, Mike Rogers, and Skip Murphy from the CNHT studios in Concord, New Hampshire. Don't forget to check us out on Spreaker.com, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, iHeart, and of course at GraniteRock.com and TheRockNHCR.com. We are also on Ustream and YouTube, everywhere, all the time, no excuses. Onward we go. So, this is normally our first segment is just us kind of shooting a you-know-what and talking about the WTFs and all those other things, but we had to book Andrew early, so now we're going to do it right here, and this is what we're going to talk about. So, we always have a Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. We always have several, and Skip sent me a couple this morning, and I didn't really have a chance to look at them, but he did, which is really all that matters.
And I have one, but Skip
Mike
goes
has
first.
one.
Okay, the first one isn't quite a WTF. It's sort of with a little bit of sadness. We lost one of the Army's finest, Master Sergeant Joshua Wheeler, in Iraq. Delta Force Special Operator, 11 Bronze Stars, 4 of them with Valor insignia. He was trying to help rescue 70 Iraqi soldiers from ISIS, and he was killed in action. And prayers go out to his family and his friends and other loved ones. But the problem I have here is that at the highest level, at the White House and at the Department of Defense, here is somebody who was killed in combat. They refuse to call it combat. And once again, it's a meme that never stops, which is the left redefining the common language out from underneath us.
His boots were not on the ground; they were hovering.
Yeah, well, I don't want to
It was
make...
an overseas contingency operation.
Yeah, unfortunately, guys, I'm not even going to go there with the jokes, because this gets to be a real serious-minded WTF versus the more lighthearted, snark-filled ones that we normally do. And as a double blue star dad, it could have been my sons in that case. And if that were to happen, because this guy ran to the sound of gunfire to help those that he was supposed to be with.
This is a window into the soul of the administration.
It is. The fact that they can't call something what it really is, just so that we can preserve, we, in the collective, can preserve President Obama's legacy. And because he said it isn't there, he ended the war. Well, it goes against everything that you look at, because wars only end when both sides decide that it's over. And you just can't declare it over because the other side gets a vote, and we saw the vote, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
that's the more serious one.
Well, you said a window into the soul, Ed, and I think that's the point. When you look through the window, there is nothing there because they already sold it to the devil.
Yeah. I have this old thing I kind of thought up on my own. Maybe I'm not the first person. But Nazis burn books. Communists kill everybody who can read or write. But socialists just rewrite everything to make their own world seem perfect, like it actually works. So right is wrong, up is down, down is up, 1 and 1 is whatever number you want it to be. And that's what we're involved in. Everything is the opposite of the way it should be. You can predict what they're going to say, almost to a T. That's the way these people are. They're progressives, communitarians, liberals, whatever you want to call them. They are the scourge of this country. Yeah, and they are entrenched. They have control of it, and things like this they just brush it off. The kid with the clock is more important than the guy with the 4 Bronze Stars. That's 11. The way they operate. 11. I'm sorry, 11.
This is the thing that gets me. 19 years service, from what I understand, but 11 Bronze Stars.
How do you get that many in that time?
Yeah, I mean, I've never...
John Kerry buys them, but this guy earned them.
You got to work. You got to work for him.
Yeah, you certainly do earn them. But there are some other things that caught my eye. One of them being Lois Lerner, the person who first served in the Federal Elections Committee and then went over to the IRS, at the heart of the targeting situation against conservative Tea Party types trying to get nonprofit status, trying to get the tax-free status. Here's where the snark can come in, folks. Gosh, I just can't believe it. The Obama administration's Department of Justice has decided that Lois Lerner did nothing wrong.
It's like she had a baton outside of a voting booth or something.
Yeah, there's absolutely no need for her to be indicted or criminally processed.
Progressives nurture their criminals. We try and throw them in jail or remove them or have nothing to do with them. They coddle them, they nurture them, and they put them in highest positions they possibly can. You just look around.
Yeah, I mean, this is serious in that we have said for years that the federal government is now all but weaponized politically. And this is certainly a case of that if you participate in that weaponization, and I don't care whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, either way it's wrong, because at this point, whichever way it goes, half the population is no longer going to trust the government. Not that we really trust the government all that much to begin with. In fact, the Gallup poll came out just a little bit ago. One of their biggest concerns is all the corruption that's happening in government now. Surprise to Mr. CNHT here. But
Sorry, you were eating.
Yeah, a healthy distrust of government is what the republic is basically founded on. It's one of the reasons the citizens are armed, but but that's not the only thing. I mean, if you do not watch and oversee and to some extent distrust your government, it will grow out of control, as it indeed has.
Yeah, and obviously that also goes along with what we saw in the news the last couple of days with Hillary Clinton and the
pizza drones.
Yeah, with the new the email came out that basically said she told Chelsea and her family that, well, we knew it was an attack, and then they turned around and said it was all about the video, and the video maker went to jail. Now
has he come out of jail yet?
Nope. I don't think so.
I don't. I think he came out and then they
didn't
snagged
put
him
him
again.
back in.
They
then
didn't
they
put him
snagged
in-
him back
well,
in for
yeah.
some kind of
Well, they're
probation.
right there. Why don't we all know? We should all know where that guy is.
Well, that's because I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday.
I mean, they arrested him and then they put him in jail for something else. The video got him arrested, and then he had some outstanding warrant or some past thing, and they used that as an excuse to toss him in jail.
Yesterday, for an hour, I was at a meeting with what I would call establishment Republicans. So I'm like the zebra in the room full of lions, let's say. And they were stunned.
But were you a well-armed zebra?
Yeah, they were stunned by the fact that Carson is doing so well and Trump is doing so well. This doesn't fit in with their, in 2002, so-and-so carried that, and so-and-so carried these 3 counties, but he didn't carry this town. They do all their analysis of elections, and Trump and Carson do not fit in. And they're going on and on and on about why does this, who can I, finally I got a chance to speak. I said, I don't think you people are factoring in the absolute disgust people have with elected officials. We've come to a point, it's progressed to a tipping point where none of their standard operating procedures work anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The standard information doesn't fit. The data doesn't match. I mean, they're so far removed from everyday people and working there. What campaign are you on? What campaign are you? And how are we going to win this one? How much money does this candidate have? Will he make the phone calls? They're so wrapped up in that I don't think they can see why. Trump doesn't explain Carson. Carson doesn't explain Trump. But those two together explain what the voters who are polled think of elected officials. If you're holding office, they're just disgusted that the Democrats have poured so much disdain and hate on the Republicans, and called them so many names and marginalized them, and the Democrats are such liars. Like smiling at your testimony before Congress. Ha ha ha! Big joke. I'm walking out of here. Lois Lerner doesn't get indicted. They're so disgusted with that. It's a pox on all your houses. So it's not surprising that some lunatic like Bernie Sanders is doing so well in the polls, and who's basically out of nowhere. He's never done anything as a U.S. senator for as long as he's been there. And then you have Trump, who's not an elected official, never has been. Carson, who's just a smart guy. And Fiorina never held office. These people are doing so well. I think that we're in fertile ground for change.
And the other one that's doing well is Cruz, who won our caucus last week, and he's doing well because he's regarded as an outsider. All the insiders hate him, therefore the public that hates the insiders tend to like him.
But Cruz sticks to his word.
Yes, that's
what they see. It sticks out like a diamond.
He does two things. He fights like Trump fights, but without being quite as
Abrasive?
And he sticks to his word. You never find him contradicting himself. And the guy is a fabulous debater. But more than that, you said the important thing, Ed. He works for it. No matter where you look in Cruz's campaign, and now that the veils and the gloves are officially off because the caucus has been held, and those of us that were involved can now be biased instead of unbiased. Wherever you look at Cruz, he has worked his butt off, or his people have worked their butt off. They did that tour of the southern states. They set up county chairs, precinct captains. Everywhere they went, they have set up a recurring base of donors. The exit interview that Pete the Tech guy did after the caucus, there was a piece in there that was so important, he reblogged it the next day and said, in case you missed it, this is the point. The point is, they have enough donors making regular small donations that their staff in 24 states are paid for without having to go out and look for more money.
All right, we're going to take a really quick break, and then we're going to do some more WTFs. I found one, by the way, that I had posted. So, Steve McDonald, GrokTALK, be right back.
From the CNHT studios in Concord, New Hampshire, just a few blocks from the New Hampshire State House, this is
GrokTALK.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at gerardatlarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
See, that was a short break. And now that we're back, Ed had something you wanted to add. Oh, sorry, Ed. Why don't I turn your microphone on?
There, that helps.
All
I
right.
can hear me now.
Mm-hmm.
I had a sit down with Dr. Carson and his wife, a table this big, just as many people, for about 40 minutes. And it's refreshing to talk to somebody who's not a politician. Because most of the time you're talking to people who are senators or governors or whatever, and they're talking to you and they're looking right past you. I've sat down with governors and whatnot, and congressmen over the years. It's refreshing to sit down with Dr. Carson and his wife Candy on either side of me, and you have a conversation with normal people. I think that's, the more people see him, or candidates like that, the more they go, that's what we need.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying this for a while now, and to your point of these establishment Republicans, you have brought us upon yourselves.
Yeah, you deserve Trump.
And it's not just that, but you have made them not to care. That's that little soliloquy I put together years ago, thinking, it's so wonderful we have Jennifer Horn as our NHGOP chair / SARC off. And it really is the point where just the story this morning with Andrew, with the young New Hampshire Republicans.
And to my credit, I sat on that for 3 days so we could talk about it today.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do, is
No,
it, Steve?
it's not. It's so hard.
But you look at that and it's like, this is not inclusive. And I use the word in the regular old-fashioned way of being inclusive instead of being so open-minded your brains fall out if you don't toe the one single line. But when Mitch McConnell said during this past election cycle, we're going to go crush the Tea Party, it's like, who do they hate worse?
Credo's doing that.
Yeah.
They spent tons of money doing that.
Yeah, but Credo's the Democrat, that organization. But I'm talking about Republicans on Republicans.
Yeah, why would he even spend the time if Credo PAC's doing it? Why send them some money? You don't have to waste his time and expose himself for what he really is.
Sort of like NHGOP chair, committeeman Steve Dupree giving Planned Parenthood Action Fund money, which now they're going to turn around and defeat
let's go forth and win elections, but first I want to tie my shoes together. It's every cycle, it's the same thing.
Ayot's record is terrible. She's 10 percentage points below Mitch McConnell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's got a lower score than Graham or McCain. She's worse than McCain.
Yeah.
Sorry, was that deliberately pronounced to sound as if she was for sale?
I don't think you understood how you said that word.
Still works.
That
still
was
works.
Steve.
Yeah,
Oh.
still works. No, we're good. We're good.
So, anyway-
Mike, you wanted to do your WTF real quick.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we'll do mine, and then we'll go back to
so talk about death spiral. Japan has had a demographic problem for a long time. The people are quite long-lived, and their birth rate has been dropping. For a few years, they've actually been reporting that young people are actually not interested in sex. I can't think of any other nation in the world where young people are not interested, but that is what they report is the case in Japan. I'm not sure what quirk of the national zeitgeist or the politics have caused this to happen. So now they are the Prime Minister is demanding that his staff produce bold proposals to increase the population. This is going to get interesting.
This is a Star Trek problem.
This is not a what the F, but is a who the F, because nobody is.
This is what gets you see these. You surf in the internet, and you see these ads. Cure for men with erectile dysfunction. I always thought Pretty Women was the cure. That's just me. I don't understand this whole problem they have in China. I mean
Japan.
China's got a problem too, but they created it themselves with abortions and other things. But Japan's is much worse, and I just don't get it. Like you said, there's plenty of beautiful women in Japan.
Oh.
But we're starting to have the same thing here, and you lay this on the feminists for so demonizing the boys from a young age because we had to boost the girls. It wasn't so much that they boosted both; they decided to favor the girls over the boys. And look what's going on in the college campuses right now with
the rape culture
dear
thing,
colleague with the faux problem of the rape culture. Well, look, you've got binge drinking, you've got the hookup culture, yada 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 yada, and at this point, without due process, where the Federal Department of Education is
binge
trying
drinking
to
is manufactured, though.
Yeah, but you look at the Department of Education with this dear colleague letter trying to put in a secondary level of a judiciary, which really they can't do. They suck at it, and they're throwing. What was it? Oh gosh, there was just a story that somebody said and it happened here at BU, my alma mater. The Daily Free Press basically said, I'd rather see people falsely accused of this kind of thing than anything else.
That's progressive
and you go,
thinking.
Do these people even think about the ramifications of this crap? And now they're coming out into general society. I'm glad I'm on the downside.
I think it's socialism.
Oh, it is.
When the state runs everything, there's such a lack of opportunity and individualism. This is what results.
Yeah, the problem is
the birth rate.
Sure,
but yeah, and that drives down the birth rate. Now, the nice thing about this college situation is that now some of these guys whose futures have been just wiped out, they can never get rid of this stuff. They're lawyering up and going after the colleges, and some of them are starting to turn in really big awards for them.
They need to. They really need to hit those endowments hard. That's
where all the money is.
That's a great lead into the thing I said, which was inclusive excellence, making future generations incapable of defending free speech. We had the problem with the Inclusive Excellence Bias-Free Language Guide in July at the University of New Hampshire, which had been mulling around for a couple of years. Well, I went digging into a story over at the University of Madison-Milwaukee, or Wisconsin-Milwaukee,
Yes.
and they have their own little Just Words campaign, which is tied to inclusive excellence. So I'm investigating that. Their guide doesn't say anything bad about America being problematic, but they say using the term politically incorrect is a microaggression. So I'm like, oh, this is a great story. I got to go dig into this. Right?
I mean, Rush has made a living for a long time just pointing this stuff out and predicting what liberals will say. I mean, to a T. I mean, he gets it right almost every time. Just up is down, down is up, right is wrong. This we have to have freedom of speech by restricting everybody's speech. So we'll have the freedom of the speech we want.
Right. So Mark Huddleston, UNH president, comes out and says, "Oh, free speech is very important. I wasn't part of this, blah blah blah." So anyway, I'm digging around on this story, and I came across a PDF of a document. And it's the Inclusive Excellence Strategic Plan for UNH.
What year?
2010 to 2020.
There you go.
The people involved in developing out this program, and you can read it in the article at GrokTALK.com, include the president, the vice provost, the vice provost of the Inclusive Excellence, and this ties into faculty, students, culture, the entire campus culture, everything.
And you wonder why people are afraid of zombies.
Right. And this is like they're saying, "Oh, this isn't how the university thinks," and yet we have this document, which is a 10-year plan, not 5 years, but it's 10. It's Stalin times 2, and then we have the entire apparatus that created the inclusive excellence, all still on staff with a budget. The people who were responsible for the bias-free language guide, which the president opposes. And so, I mean, the entire mechanism for this is just sitting there. And if you go online, you can find links to pages about inclusive excellence, only you can't find those two words together anymore. They've changed it all so that it looks different.
We
but
find
it's
it
all
5
the same.
years in.
They've never stopped. It's still there.
Well,
and they create college students that are just completely robotic, empty-headed. It's embarrassing when you talk to them.
This goes back to Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart, who famously said, politics is downstream from the culture. So, Steve, what you're describing is a deliberate attempt to change the culture at a university, not a small one, and now those graduates will come out and they will take those with them. And if it isn't for people like us to disabuse them of their stupidness,
they will start
this culture will change. And that's the socialism's long game, starting with the Frankfurt School.
To tie back to your points,
Yep.
most of the people I know from high school who were maybe liberals, or because I used to be kind of left-leaning a little bit, I imagine. I didn't really change until I had kids.
Bingo.
Right? And that's why.
No wonder they don't
when
want
you have, I know people, they had children, and all of a sudden, those high taxes, those regulations, the bureaucracy, everything, the culture begins to matter to them again, and they begin to move to the right. And if you're not having children, you never move to the right.
Or, if you're having children without being married, there's another study out that says the best raising of children is with married opposite sex marriage.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with the life of Julia from the Obama administration campaign, you can be a single mom, you can have kids, and where's the husband?
They got to retool that because she didn't get raped in college. It's not in there. I think they took it out.
Retooled? Hang on a minute.
Retooled. Oh, sorry.
No. Wrong one.
Yeah, Steve at granitegrok.com.
Yes, not skip at granitegrok.com. Steve
at granitegrok.com. I love the attention. Thank you very much.
I'm a practicing arborist, all right? So I climb trees, climb over power lines and houses and whatnot, go up rotten trees. And I've been doing this, I started when I was 19, I'm 62, so 40-some years. I have watched guys have kids, all done climbing. Won't put a ladder up and go on a roof anymore. Whole different perspective when you have kids. Yeah. And that's why some of these societies are perfectly happy to have their populations not have kids. It gives it gives the government more control. Abortion is a classic example of who promotes it. Why do we give a private corporation so much money to engage in it?
Yeah.
So they know that. Social scientists know. Whenever you read like this Credo pack, I was reading
30
about
seconds
the other
just
day,
as a heads up.
Their analysis and data shows. So they're constantly updating this stuff.
You need an expanding economy and expanding hope, not Obama's kind, in order to have an expanding population.
Yep. And you don't have it in socialist countries.
No.
Been there, done that, talked to them.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, look at Europe.
Very
Russia,
revealing.
Which Sanders wants to turn us into.
Russia's been where Japan is for years.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
they're dying
for years.
Listen to Europeans sometime. I've dealt with quite a few. My wife flew overseas, and I've been overseas, and we have friends in different countries, and you talk to them, and it's, well, that family has money, we don't. There's no hope. There's no opportunity for progress. It's either have it or you don't. And you look to the state for everything.
We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We're coming back with Max Abrams, and we're going to do some legislative updates. Woohoo!
This is the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is the repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now, at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
GrokTV.